Hello and welcome to this tutorial. We'll be looking at Django this time around. So Django is a Python framework. So if you are new, this would be a very preparatory tutorial or introductory tutorial for you. I'll be covering a lot of topics. I have created like a curriculum here, a Django curriculum. So we'll be looking at setting up um, setting up our project, and then we'll build a CRUD application at the end. Then we'll talk about Django forms. So this will not be in one video, so please make sure you subscribe so that you get notification when each of these videos come out. So let's get started immediately by creating our first Django project. Now for you to do that, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you have Django installed. So here's the command, python pipe install Django. You can check out the documentation here. Everything is here inside of the documentation. You can be sure of that. Here in the installation, when you go down and check install an official release, and you see that command here. So that's just the command. We'll copy it and then paste it, then install it. I already have installed it, so it shouldn't do much when I try to install it again. Now the next thing that's important we do now is to create a project, a Django project. So I would navigate into my desktop, and then here is where I'll create the project. So in the documentation, you might see it a bit different, but this is a very short way to create it. So Django admin, start project, and then the name of the folder that you want to contain the project. So for me, I'll be changing this to something else. Instead of a blog, I could use something else. So what do we use? We could just say student record, something like that. So let's make this a bit smaller or bigger. Student record, something like that. Students. Okay, let's just leave it as students and hit enter. So this will create for us a folder called students, and inside of it will create like a setup of this project. So let's immediately open this in VS Code. I assume that if you're watching this, you already have the basics of some of these things, say basics of Python and all that. So I think this didn't do well. So let's see what the problem was. So it's supposed to be students, not students, right? So students, hit enter, and it opens for us our project which we have just created. So like I said, inside of it creates a folder here, and inside of it creates like a setting for us. So there's a bunch of configuration. You shouldn't bother about this. I'll just show you each one that you will need to bother about as we continue. And so one of them is the setting folder. Here we'll be adding up apps here when it's time, and then the URLs folder. This is where we define our applications, because this is the project, but the application we're about to build is not yet here. So the next thing we have to do, according to what we have here, is to start our server. So let's start the server, and then for you to start the server, all you need is Python manage py and then run server. So back here, let's run the server. I have added all of this into a gist, so I'll just attach the gist so that in case you need the commands where I'm getting them from, you can get it. But like I said, everything is inside of the documentation here, so you could just check it out from the tutorial here, and you'll be able to find your way around using this tutorial. All right, so immediately you do this, we should have our project running, and you might notice that there are 18 unapplied migrations. Don't worry, we'll come back to this in a minute, but just to make sure that we were able to create this Django project properly, let's check this out. And this is it. This is what you should see if you have created it properly the way I have created it. All right, so on our curriculum, the next thing we want to do, so we'll just check off everything we've done, is to view. Okay, we viewed it on the browser already. So the next thing is to create an app. So let's copy this and this command. And for you to create an app, you need Python manage.py start app, then it creates whatever app you want to create. So I'll just change this to say student app, something like that. So this is the actual application inside of the project, and that is what we have here. So just see it this way, this is our full project, but our application, the project have a settings inside of the student, but then the application itself is set up inside of the student app. Now what it means is, in one Django project you can have multiple application. All right, the manage.py, basically I just see it as a place where you manage everything going on inside of the project, but forget about it, you don't need it. All right, now after creating an app, what is the next thing on our curriculum? So the next thing on our curriculum is to add the app route that we have just created. All right, so when we add the app route to the settings, then it will be able to recognize our application when we want to view it. So currently when you view, this is what you are seeing, but when we are done setting up, you see the difference. All right, so let's add the app. So let's go back to here, and we want to go to URLs here. All right, that's how we want to add the app. Right now it's telling us, if you follow the instructions here, we need to import include. So we import include, and then we need to set a path like this, just like what you see on top, but we don't want it to navigate to anywhere. So if you choose to make it navigate to somewhere, so you could just do student and then slash, but I do not want it to navigate to anywhere, so I just keep an empty string, and then I'll include. What am I including? I am including the students app, like so, dot URLs. That's what I'm including. So with this, our Django project can now recognize the application that we have just added. All right, and this is really all you need to do here. So we can save this and then close the students and then return to our students app. Now if you don't do this, the app will not be recognized, so make sure you do that. So once we are done with this, let's go back to our curriculum and check. So we've been able to add the app routes that we've just done. So the next thing is to add a view. So let's do that immediately. So let's add a view. So let's go into our students app and then open views. So basically, Django app follows the MVC structure. So there is view, there is other things like the controllers and the rest. So here is the view, right? So everything you want to do about the view, we'll do it inside of here. So immediately let's define a function, and this function will be the name of the view or the page we would like to view. So this is let's say the home, and inside of it, make sure you pass in the request, if not you run into an error. And then we want to return is going to be a HTTP response for now. So HTTP response. So we are returning HTTP response, and inside of that we just want to return blog home, something like that. All right, and then we save that like so. Then to make sure that we're able to navigate to this, because currently you still can navigate to this. If you check it out, you see sometimes it will run blank. It is because it's not seeing where to navigate to for now. So let's create a folder called URLs, just as we have inside of the settings there in students. So urls.py. All right, so we are still following our curriculum where you add a view and then add a route. We are currently adding the route. So once we add a route, you should be able to see what we are saying. And so what do you need to do here? We need to also import path, just as we have path imported here, something like this. And like I told you, you can check out the documentation. So if you want to check out the documentation, you can just go to say views here, and then inside of here you see you just import path from Django the URL. So let me make sure I close this. And so inside of here I'm importing path, and then we follow the pattern here. So there's URLs pattern, and then you now set the path. So that's what we're going to be doing. So URLs pattern, then path, like that. So something like this. So let me explain what we are doing here. So inside of here, whatever URL you put is what we're going to be seeing, but this is not what we want for now, right? So let's clear this off, and what we want here to be is empty. Okay, then inside of here we want to set up the view, what we actually want to view. So for us to do that, we want to from views import. What are we importing? We're importing home, which is what we've just created. Okay, so we type it here, home, and then we can also name it home, like so. Okay, so once you are done setting this up, you save it, and now we should be able to navigate to this particular view and see blog home. So let's go back to our browser and refresh. So we have, let's check out what we're doing and how we are doing it. If we are running into an error, what the problem is. So Django import parts. So okay, everything seems to be running fine. So let's go back here. Let's see where we're getting an error. So all right, so it's telling us that no module found students app. So the problem comes from where we set up our URLs here, so we need to change this to students app, because that's what we named our folder here. Okay, so students app.urls, like so, and then save it. So once we save it, we want to restart want to restart our server here. So let's clear this off and try this again. So this should be working just fine. So as soon as we navigate to it, we are seeing exactly what we wanted. So blog home, like so. All right. So with that, we have been able to crush the add route curriculum, or listing the curriculum. Okay. Now the next thing we want to learn about is templates. So how do we create templates and add templates? So you'll notice that for now, in our view, we are returning a HTTP response. But how about when you want to return, say, a full HTML page? You want to return a website or stuff like that. How do you do this? So that's where templates comes in. So let's work on templates. So inside of our students app here, let's create a folder called templates. So templates, like so. Hit enter. To create it, it has to be templates because this is where Django will come and look for a template when we include a template. Now inside of here, we want to create a new file. We can just call it base.html, like so. And then inside of here, we want to add in some HTML boilerplate. So usually when I do the HTML, it should work, but because we are using Django, it's giving me some headache. So I'll just come and do a shortcut here to get a boilerplate and close this off. All right, and paste it inside of here. So this is basically a HTML page that you already know. So we could just change this to blog. Let's not use blog. So students app, like so. Eventually we'll just be creating a student record. That's just it. Okay, and then inside of here we want to say students app content, like so, and save it. Okay, now back in the view, recall that initially we were using a HTTP response. Okay, we don't want to use a response like that. So what we want to do this time around instead is to render a page. So inside of this render function, which we have imported at the top here, we want to enter the request. Okay, so request, and then the other option here would be to put in the HTML file that we have created, HTML, like so, and save it. So now that I've saved it, let's go back and then do a refresh. It's telling us that template does not exist at. So what could be the problem is because we've not added this app to our settings. All right. So when we add the app to our settings, it now makes it visible, and so we can now use the templates like that. So let's add students underscore app, like that, and save it. So once we save it and go back and refresh, we should now have our student app content, and everything is showing as it should be. So right here, we've been able to check out 2 more boxes, that is creating and adding templates, and then adding this template actually to our application, kind of. All right. Now there is something else about templates that is cool. I let you know about. Now it's even very good that it's called template now, because it could be used as a template for other templates like that. So let's come back here. So let's say you want to create, say, 5-10 HTML pages. Now all of them would have similar attributes. For example, all of them have title, all of them have content, and things like that. So what do you do in a case like that? That's when variables come into play. So let's see how variables work here. So for us to do that, we need to come here and create something like a block. Okay, there's an open block and a closed block, or a start block and an end block. So I'll just use a shortcut here and then explain. So this is the block, and there's a block and end block. Okay, now inside of the open block, you open curly braces and then add the percentage sign at both ends. You also do that for an end block, and that's all you have in the end block. However, for the open block here, which is just block, you need to put in the name of that block. So the name of that block, we want it to be title. However, when you are able to create this like this, and then do the same thing for the content that's supposed to be on the page. So let's try it, block and content. So just say this block is going to be content. Now you could put like let's say fallback. So for example, we could say this is students, like this, students, and then here we could say students content, like this, just a fallback like that. But aside from this, our main focus is using the content. So when we save this and go back to our application and do like a refresh, you see that it now has only the fallback because we have not used it somewhere else. So we want to now change, and let's say create a new file and say this time around this is home.html, like that, and then we want to now use the content from our base file. So for you to do that, you need to do what we call extends. So it just follows the same procedure. Always open and close curly braces, then put in the keyword, which is extend, and then which file are we extending? We're extending the base file, like that. So once you extend the base file and save it, it's as though you have inherited everything here. Now, for you to now view it, we need to change this to home, save it, and then when we come back here, we should still have the same thing. But if we want to now make sure that what the content is different, we can now, use the block, all right, the way it should be. So same thing, we do the same block, and inside of the block, we say this is supposed to be title, and then we announce the student's home like this, and then one more thing is going to be the content one. So I'm always using a shortcut, just to be faster, and we say this should be content, and then student content, like that. So, but let's change it from student content so it's actually changed. So let's say student home content, like that. Save that, and then return back to our page, refresh, and see that the content changes because we've updated it. And that's what you really need to know about templates. All right. So we've been able to, create templates. So the next thing we want to do now is to create and add styles to our page. Okay. How do you add styles to a Django website like this? So for you to add it, we will do the same thing we did for templates. This time around, folder we'll be creating here is called static. So more like static files. So inside of here, we just create styles. This can actually be anything. So styles.css, like that. All right, save it, and you can add any style that you want, just as you would have done in a regular application. So for example, we could just say background color, and then let's just pick this color, save it, and let me also show you as usual where it is inside of the documentation. So if we go back and come back to, we have style in somewhere, static files rather. Let's come back to static file. You see how it's added, but we're more interested in how this is added into the page. All right, so let's copy it. Let's just copy what we have here, like so. Come back and go into our base file because we want everything to be inherited from the base file. All right, now inside of here, we paste what we have collected, like that, and then change the routing. So we just remove this and put it to be styles.css. That's really all we need to do. We save it, and then we make sure we restart, because sometimes when you don't restart and you try to refresh, it might not see the changes you have made. So let's restart. Once we restart, we should have the changes coming up, like that. So refresh, changes is not showing. So let's, all right, I think the problem is from the spelling here. So let's save it, okay, and then try to do our refresh again, and we have everything running as it should be. Okay, all right, so we've been able to check some other boxes. Okay, so the next thing to do is to create a model. So what's a model? Basically, it's like an abstraction of how our database is supposed to look. That's just it. Okay, so let's go back and back to our code, by the way, and let's close off everything we already have here and go back to the models. So models here, what do we want to do? We want to create an abstraction of what we want our database to look like. So for that, we do a class and we say a student, like that, and this would be what our model would be. So models inside of here is what we are taking in, models.model, and then inside of here we want to specify two fields. So name, like that, and we'll say it's equal to car field, like so. So models.car field is what you're going to get. So we just get rid of all of this, and all we need to specify is max length. We can set this to 100 instead of 50. And then next thing, we want to set up an email field, and inside of here we want to do another models.car field. Let's make it an email field instead, and then no need to set a length to it. This should be fine. And then what else do we want to do? Let's set up one more field instead. Let's talk about, so let's each student tell us about themselves. So let's change this to models.text area. So this is text field, by the way. So this is good so that we see different ways. We could also add other things like publishing date, stuff like that. So where you now have date and time field. So it's fine. So let's do pub date, something like that. Pub date, and set it to models.date field, like that, and then inside of here we could just set this to date published, something like that. Published. I think that should be fine if all goes well. All right. So now that we've been able to set up the model, that's really all you need to know about models. We'll be able to now run what to call migration. So, but let's go back and see the way we are checking off our boxes. Okay, so we'll be able to create a model. So now that we'll be able to create a model, we'll again add an application, but that this will be when we're setting up our admin. But for now, let's do the migration. So we want to make migration from what we've already created, and then we'll run the migration. So let me make sure this is fine. It's not copy. Okay, so let's copy that, and then let's just open a new terminal, paste it in. So like I told you, I already have a gist. I'll make sure I put it inside of the description, where you can see these commands that I'm using. So just make sure that you change this to student app. This name has to match this name here, which has to also match the name inside of the setting. So where is it? So names. So this student app, it has to match this. It has to match this. All right, so that you don't run into an error. So let's hit it this time around. So it's telling us that that's created a migration for us. And when we check out inside of this migrations folder, there is a migration here for us. Okay. You don't need to check out these files, whatever is going on there. Just keep it out. I assume you should know how to use ORM, so that's just what would be going on inside there. But keep that aside, we've been able to make migrations. And recall that we are still having some errors here, telling us we have 18 unapplied migration. So we'll clear off this error in a minute as soon as we run the migration. So going back here, we've been able to make migrations, and now it's time to run the migrations like so. So let's run the migrations. The command for running migration is python manage.py migrate. So once you hit this, all migrations will be run, and then when you come back here and run the server again, you should have all those errors cleared off. You see, the errors are all cleared off. Like I told you, we'll handle that now that it is time. So as soon as we've done this, it means that we are ready to use this table or this record model that we have created. Okay, and that's all you need to create and run a model. Now the beauty of Django is the fact that you can be able to handle your whole application through an admin system that comes with it. It comes inbuilt with it. All right, so this admin, so everything we're doing at this point now is admin. So this admin comes with it, and it's so beautiful how it works. So that's what we'll be doing now. So let us set up the admin. So for you to set up admin, you need to do the python manage.py create super user. So this would basically help you to set up your admin, because you'll be asked for username, password, and stuff like that. So let's just run it here. Python manage.py create super user. Hit enter, and it asks for username. If you leave it blank, you just use your computer name, but I just want it to be admin. And email address, I'll leave that blank. And then for password, enter your password, and whatever happens, I want to say yes to it, and that's fine for me. So now that I've been able to set up an admin, so what do I want to do next? I want to show the admin. So for us to show the admin, let's go back here, click on this, it navigates us to our site, but just do a /admin, hit enter, it now authenticates you or gives you an opportunity to authenticate. So I just say admin, login, and voila, we now have a dashboard that we didn't create. This comes with Django out of the box. So what do we have here? From here we have users. So this could just be like a building block for you. We also have groups. So if you want to add user, you can add user from here, and just fill out whatever you need to fill out and all that. But that's not what we are doing today. Now, what we want to do is to be able to manage the model that we have just created here from our admin. So for us to do that, let's go back to our application and register. We want to register this model. So let's go to the admin, and in here we want to do admin dot register dot if I'll get that correctly. So let me see if I can get that correctly. So let's go to admin. Let's go back. So where's our admin here? Can I find the admin? Okay, great. So admin dot register, that's what we're looking for. Well, let's go down. Okay. Great. Admin.site.register. Okay, I think I mixed that up. So admin.site like that, dot register. Okay, so open this up, and then we want to put in our model. Recall that at this point we can't see our model here. Okay, so let's go back here, and then let's, from models, import. What are we importing? We're importing student, like that. So we just register the students like so, and save it. Okay, so as soon as we save it, do a refresh, and voila, we have our student app that has our student model. Now, if you have other models, it will also show there. Now that we are here, you can choose to add students. So like this. So I could just add my name like that. I could add, Django, something like this. And about me, cool guy. All right. And then I just say today is the date I'm publishing. Save it, and then we save it. Immediately you have this thing, so you can choose to even manage anything you want to manage right from here if you're not building a very robust application. And this is the beauty of Django. So we've been able to check out all this from our curriculum, and this is beautiful. This is where we'll draw the curtain for today, and we've been able to introduce Django and what Django is like, everything you need to know about Django. So in the next video, we'll be looking at how to create a CRUD application using just Django. Everything Django. So thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one.